Hello, Homestead. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please stay standing for a moment of silence.
From Homestead Media, this is HHS In Depth.
Today is Friday, May 17th, and welcome to HHS In Depth. Let's begin with a brief rundown of today's show. To start us off, Bryce Garrett brings us a story on Superintendent Dr. Ginder's announcement of his retirement. Then, Rowan Walsh tells us about the National Bound Rocketry team here at Homestead. Later, Emily Adams tells us about a special unit offered in environmental classes. And finally, Carly Swinemeller will introduce us to the Hive, a new coffee shop in town just down the road. Mara Nicholson will tell us about the weather next week, and to end us off, Graham DeWitt will update us on sports in Down to the Wire. This and much more on this episode of HHS In Depth.
Hello, Spartans. Welcome to HHS In Depth. I'm Rowan Walsh.
And I'm Cameron Elder. And Rowan, how have your last weeks as a senior been?
They have been super tiring and super stressful. I cannot wait for school to be over.
For me, I've been fine. I haven't done work in weeks. But lately, the rain hasn't helped my mood. April showers definitely came a little later than expected this year.
Definitely. Reporter Mara Nicholson is in now to tell us if this trend will continue.
Although this past week was pretty crummy outside, we should be seeing some better temps this weekend, especially on Sunday, with the exception of a couple of raindrops today after school. Stay tuned. I'll let you know more about next week's weather later on in the show. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Mara. I'll be excited for the nice weather on Sunday.
HHS In Depth, National News.
Switching over to national news, Shelby Hewitt, a 32-year-old woman, successfully posed as a 13-year-old foster child named Ellie Blake at the English High School in Boston for months. Hewitt, who also created a fake social worker persona, fooled school staff and students until suspicions arose about her true identity. The principal, Caitlin Murphy, became alarmed when inconsistencies were found in Ellie's registration documents and the social worker's email address. Hewitt's deception has raised concerns about school security and the vulnerability of foster care systems. In other news, from laughing and chatting to singing, the new model of OpenAI's ChatGPT rivals any AI we have seen yet. OpenAI hosted tech demos where ChatGPT acted as a real-time interpreter for a conversation between English and Italian. This has huge implications for aiding international diplomacy with ease and enhancing accessibility for multilingual communities.
Thanks for the national news update, Rowan.
Cameron, once our principal, now our superintendent, Dr. Ginder had a major influence on the district. But did you hear that he's retiring after this year?
Not really. I've been checked out since October.
That's fair. Bryce Garrett is in now to tell us more about Dr. Ginder's retirement after his tenure in the district.
Recently, Dr. Ginder surprised the Southwest Allen County community after announcing that he planned to retire from his role as SAC superintendent later this year. This announcement left Ginder to reflect on his past 11 years here in the district. What led your decision to retire now?
If you had asked me 12 weeks ago if I was going to retire, I would have kind of smiled at you. There was no plan. I was presented with an opportunity to do something brand new through an organization that we're going to call Grow Allen, and I'll be the executive director. We will be trying to expand vocational programming and preschool programming for kids all across the county. If that opportunity hadn't come up, I'm not sure that I would have retired, but 38 years is a long time. This will be a different kind of busy. It won't be as busy as being the high school principal. The high school principalship is the most difficult, most demanding position in the district, and superintendent's probably second. So instead of working 60 or 65 hours a week, I can get it to 40, and that'll be great.
many years from now, when you're reflecting on your time at Homestead, what are some of the biggest memories you're going to remember off the top of your head?
Seeing our kids win and or compete at Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis for basketball, man, that was amazing. Those were great days. Seeing the marching band and really going to state every year or going to BOA and seeing how our students fare compared to their peers all over the state and all over the country. Those things are obviously bring you great pride. Going to fifth grade musicals, Haverhill, every year is a ton of fun, or the plays and musicals at the middle school. So it's not just athletics. And to see our art program grow here at the high school, Mrs. Jones and Mrs. Hussar have poured their heart into it, and then we added Mr. Manco, and now 2 new teachers. And to see what our kids are doing, it's not the new facilities, it's those 5 people that have poured their lives into it. There's every single program that I could brag about. Our elementary language arts, reading specialists, math coaches, fantastic educators and amazing teachers who all are underpaid and deserve much more than they make, and yet they're here every day and loving our kids. And I think that's what makes me happy.
As Ginder moves on to work as executive director of Grow Allen, Saks is yet to name their newest superintendent for this upcoming school year. Reporting for HHS In Depth, I'm Bryce Garrett.
Thanks for the story, Bryce. Stick around. We'll be back shortly with more on HHS In Depth.
You can learn all about Homestead's work-study program over the summer when we come back later in the show.
Welcome back to HHS In Depth.
Seniors, Yearbook is featuring your class in 2 fun ways. One is focused on you and your pets, and the other is focused on your future plans. If you would like to be featured in either spread, please email Mrs. Barron at the email address shown here. There is also a Google form that was emailed to you regarding your future plans. Please contact them as soon as possible.
Girls track and field athletes, if you have completed your season, please turn in your school-issued uniform to Coach Barron's, Coach Lott, or Coach Wiss. All items must be returned before any awards will be issued.
If you are going to another school's prom and have a dance guest form from another school that needs to be signed by Homestead administration, please bring the form to the discipline office prior to 7th period to get it signed. There won't always be someone available to sign your form after school. Cameron, do you participate in any clubs?
Aside from the robotics team, I don't really do much after school.
That's fair. Well, from robotics club to chicken nugget club, Homestead offers it all. But senior Lily Reset founded a new club whose first-year success is unparalleled as they travel to Virginia for a national competition tomorrow.
I'm super excited. It's super awesome that we were able to do that our first year of competing. And it's also really exciting because we were the only team from Indiana to qualify this year. So we're super excited to be able to represent Indiana at the national competition.
Even though this is their first year, reaching nationals is no easy feat. Almost 1,000 teams compete and only 100 teams make it to nationals.
The competition is organized by the American Rocketry Challenge, and they'll release a rule book every year. And the main goal is to reach a certain height. So this year that's 820 feet, and then it's to be in the air for a certain amount of time. And this year that's 42 to 45 seconds. And then the rocket also has to carry an egg, a hen's egg, and it can't break when the rocket comes down from the air.
So what benefits can you get from joining this club?
I think students should join this club because it's a really good experience with not a lot of time commitment. So we probably spent, I'd say 20 hours total working on the rocket throughout the year. So it's really not a super difficult project to get into, and it's really awesome to get involved in activities in STEM, especially if that's what you're planning to study.
Even with all of this success, the Rocketry team comprises only of seniors and is looking for students to join next year. If you want more information or like shooting things into the sky, they are hosting a call-out meeting in Mr. Linfesti's room, room B2020 on May 22nd. You can also follow their Instagram page at HHS Rocketry for updates on the national competition.
Thanks for the story, Rowan. Did you know that the environmental students are doing a survival unit where they get to make fires and try different nuts from berries from the environmental center?
I had no clue. I've always loved the environmental center, but I've always wondered who puts it to good use.
In now is reporter Emily Adams with a story all about the work-study program.
So many people in our community, even those outside of Homestead, benefit from the use of the environmental center. But who actually takes care of it?
The work-study program is a Homestead tradition started nearly 50 years ago by Mr. Doug Waldman, who the Environmental Center is actually named after.
Because the Environmental Center does not get a lot of funding for its upkeep and general maintenance, the responsibility falls onto volunteers. The participating students in the work-study program spend an early week of their summer getting the Environmental Center ready for next year's use.
The program is a lot of outdoor physical labor. We do wood chip wheelbarrowing, raking. We build the boardwalks out there. We also cut back the vegetation on all the trails. We also maintain the trail markers and repair and paint the picnic tables too. So it's a little bit of everything.
So if you're interested in working on this amazing project, make sure to keep June 10th through the 14th open. And if there's a conflict on some days, students are welcome to work just a day or two out in the EC. But everyone must grab a permission form from either Mrs. Merkling or Mr. Yeager's room. Students interested may be from any grade, including the current seniors.
It's an opportunity for you to get to be involved in something bigger than yourselves. It benefits the entire community. It's great for resume building, and the whole community depends on this, and they don't even realize it. So it's just us getting to work in the background in a place that I'm very passionate about.
So if you have some free time this summer, make sure you head out to the Environmental Center with your work boots and your gardening gloves to prep it for the next academic year. Reporting for HHS In Depth, I'm Emily Adams.
Thank you, Emily. Stick around. We'll be back shortly with more on HHS In Depth.
With the school year getting closer to the end, so are some of our sports teams as they wrap up their regular seasons and begin playoff action. I'll talk more about that and Down to the Wire in a few minutes.
Welcome back to HHS In Depth.
We're back on HHS In Depth. And Rowan, this weather lately has really been getting me down.
It's been getting me down too. I just don't like the rain. But in now is Mara Nicholson to see if there's any hope for this 7-day forecast.
Thanks, Rowan and Cameron. Heading out of school today, there will be a high of 77 degrees and isolated thunderstorms. So make sure to check the radar before you run out to your car in order to stay as dry as possible. As we head into the weekend, the rain is expected to stop Saturday morning, but the day is still supposed to be a little cloudy. We'll see a warm high of 82, and the lovely temps should stick around on Sunday with a bit of a higher temperature at 84 degrees. Looking into next week, Monday and Tuesday look pretty similar with highs in the low 80s. However, Tuesday brings back the spring rain with expected scattered thunderstorms throughout the whole day and stronger winds. Wednesday and Thursday cool down to a high of about 73 to 74, and the rain carries on with AM showers and partly cloudy skies on both days. The weather seems to be pretty mixed for this next week, and as we know, it is Indiana, so we need to be prepared for anything weather-wise. But I would definitely make sure to keep an umbrella handy. Rowan, Cameron, back to you.
Thank you, Mara, but I was really hoping for less rain.
Me too. But are you ready for your final high school finals?
With my studying habits, not really, but I'm sure some others are going to be swarming cafes soon to get ready for finals.
And now is Carly Swimeler with a report on a new coffee shop, the Hive.
I'm standing inside of the Hive, a local Fort Wayne coffee shop that is right down the road from Homestead. As students walk the halls in the morning with their handcrafted beverages, the question not only arises what kind of drink did they order, but also what is the meaning behind the place and where they purchased the drink.
So we created the vibe for the Hive to just be this local hangout space. So this place that people from all different walks of life can come, hang out, congregate with friends, to come read, just doing whatever makes them happy and just being a space the community can really hang out at.
Jordan Kilburn, the owner of the business, hasn't quite been a barista her whole life.
She's had to make quite the change in her career path to get to this point.
Been in nursing leadership, so this is obviously different than healthcare, but similar in the way that we just wanted to care for people in a different way.
Ranging from coffee-based beverages to teas, smoothies, refreshers, and more, the business offers quite another key element, a place to study and work on homework that is out of the house in Homestead's campus.
A place that is centrally located for the Spartans to be able to come with friends or alone and be able to kind of do what they're looking for.
As finals are approaching, it seems like a good idea to go to the Hive to get a quick study in or a sweet treat. If you are interested in learning more, their socials are listed below. Signing off for this school year, I'm Carly Swimiller.
Thank you, Carly, for this story. I think I'll try to buzz by the Hive sometime.
Speaking of buzzing crowds, while some students are swarming cafes to study, others are taking the stands to cheer on our teams. Let's switch gears and take you down to the wire with Graham DeWitt.
Welcome back to Down to the Wire. I'm Graham DeWitt. Our spring teams continue to have splendid performances with big results to show for it. We start today off with boys golf. Last Saturday, they went down to Noble Hawk for the Leo Invite and won as team champions with a final score of 299. In the Invite, Caden Baker won his second individual title this year, shooting 71, and Jack Berta was right behind him at second overall with 73. They continued their success into Monday in a varsity JV combined match play against Huntington North, winning by a final score of 10-2. They continue the Big Blue Cup tournament at Autumn Ridge versus Carroll tonight for day 2 and will wrap it up on day 3 tomorrow morning. Heading inside, our boys volleyball team was also in action on Saturday. They took care of business, beating both Southside and Columbia City 3-0 to claim their second straight sectional title. Ja'Cory Schneider had 19 kills, Brady Henline and Harrison Tallarico had 12 digs, and Jesse Bienenbach had 35 assists. We'd also like to congratulate Ja'Cory Schneider on getting his 500th career kill in the sectional championship. The boys will travel to Fishers tomorrow to play HSE for the regional title. Our baseball team saw plenty of action this week. On Tuesday, they took on Blackhawk Christian and won a close game 4-2. Jacob Bardwell was the winning pitcher with 5 strikeouts in as many innings, and Luke Rhea got the save with 5 strikeouts of his own. On the offense, Caleb Bradford led the way with 2 hits and an RBI. The next day, they traveled to Adams Central and won again with a final score of 2-1. Alex Graber pitched a gem, getting the win. They play in their regular season finale in a doubleheader tomorrow morning versus Leo. Our softball team finished their home action last Wednesday, and they did so in dominating fashion. Up against East Noble, our girls won a shutout game 14-0, forcing the 10-run mercy rule after just 5 innings. They also have their regular season finale next, which will be at Belmont tonight. Also on Wednesday, our girls tennis team began sectional play. They came away with the win 5-0, and as of this recording, the girls are gearing up for the sectional finals. Should they win that, they will begin regional play next Tuesday at Bluffton. To close us out, it's time to announce the Homestead Male and Female Athletes of the Week. Award recipients are nominated by their coaches for sportsmanship, athletic achievement, and team spirit. This week's winners are Jacob Martin of the boys track and field team and Peyton Rainier of the softball team. Congrats to you both. Award recipients this week or in the future will need to pick up your award in the athletic office. That's all for this week's edition of Down to the Wire. Thanks for watching. Rowan, Cam, back to you.
Thank you, Graham, and thank you all for watching today.
That'll do it for today's episode of HHS In Depth. Make sure to check out our socials for updates on the HHS ID team for our upcoming projects.
Have a great weekend, Homestead.
We'll see you next week for the final show of the year.